It's another edition of Time About the Movies, and today we're starting a brand new month off by taking a look at the movies of August 5th, 1994. We got 4 movies to look at today, so let's just jump right on into it. And we'll start off with the biggest new release of the weekend, the third installment of the Jack Ryan series, with Harrison Ford once again playing Jack Ryan. That is, of course, Clear and Present Danger. So this was basically the last installment of the original Jack Ryan trilogy that began with The Hunt for Red October, although Alec Baldwin played Jack Ryan in that one. And of course, Patriot Games was followed after that, and then here we have Clear and Present Danger, which is arguably seen as the best of the three movies, which, I don't know, I think all three movies work very well on their own. I will say though, this is probably the best one of the three films. I think story wise, it does a good job of creating a complex story that works to the benefit of Jack Ryan's character. Harrison Ford once again plays Jack Ryan very well in here. You also have Ann Archer back from the previous film. There's also James Earl Jones is also back in this. But some other names in here that you may be very familiar with. William Dafoe's in here. Henry Cierney, who would play a character very similar to this in Mission Impossible, the original Mission Impossible movie. Donald Moffat playing the president. You got Benjamin Bratt in here. Some other notable names in here too, and a lot of the same people back from the first movie. And like I said, I think it is a very well made film. It's from a story perspective. I think story wise, it's much more. It's not as complex as some of the other movies, but like I said, the other movies are not terrible. I really like the other two movies a lot. Like I really like the ending of Patriot Games. I love that climax at the end. But this is a really good thriller, like a really good thriller that really works to this character's advantage. I think it does a very good job of keeping the tension high. And while I don't think it has a strong climax in this movie compared to the last film, I think it is a movie that is very well done. I think it's a film that really is the strongest of the three films in terms of like creating some good tension, doing things that the other films couldn't really do, and like I said, I think it is the strongest story-wise of the three films. Like I said, I like all three of these movies before, and I think it is a very strong. I think it is a very strong film. It's a very good film all around. Another great film directed by Philip Noyce. You got John Milius who wrote this. Steven Zazilian, of course, also wrote this as well. And like I said, I think it's the strongest of the three films. A good conclusion to this character. I kind of wish to the Harrison Ford's portrayal of this character, I should say. I kind of wish we got more of them, but it would take a little bit for Jack Ryan to kind of get back on track. I thought The Sum of All Fears was not a very good movie on any level, despite the fact that it has Ben Affleck as Jack Ryan, and that's not bad casting, but that movie just is a mess of its own, and we'll get to that one when we get to that one in 2002, but at least they ended the series. At least the series has gotten better in the last couple of years. I thought Jack Ryan's Shadow Recruit was very good, and the John Krasinski Jack Ryan series on Amazon has been very good as well, but yeah, Clear and Present Danger, great film, good conclusion to Ford's portrayal of this character. Kind of wish we got more, but I mean, we'll take what we can get. This is still a very good film all around. So that's Clear and Present Danger. Let's move on to the next movie, and that is The Little Rascals. This is, of course, the feature film adaptation of the classic Our Gang series from the 1920s, 30s, and 40s. And, like I said before, like the idea of taking something from way back then and trying to modernize it for a new generation, it's a tall task, but there has been more success to it as of late than there hasn't been. Like, we looked at Lassie a couple of days ago, and that was an example of a movie that worked well for what it was. Black Beauty was another example. Um, you know, the Three Stooges movies that came out in 2012, I know some people really didn't like it, but I gotta say, for what they had to do, what the Farrelly brothers had to do with that movie, I thought they did a pretty good job with it. I think that movie is a lot better than I think people give it credit for. And I kind of put that in the same category as this movie. I think this movie works well enough as it is. I think it's a film that really does do it well for the most part. I think it does manage to capture the spirit of the original shorts and puts it in a modern setting where you don't really have to modernize the characters all that much to be trendy of the time period. The kids act like normal kids. They don't act like kids from the 90s. You don't have the 90s cliches all over the place. And I think the kid actors here, they do a really good job of making these characters work as well as they do. One of the big things that really shocked me about this movie, is not the first time I saw it, but as it's gone on, there's a lot of cameos in this movie. A lot of cameos from various people. Like some of the kid actors in here you might recognize, like Travis Tedford. He's been in stuff like Slappy and the Stinkers, and he's been a couple of episodes of the Amanda Show too. I remember. Bug Hall. If you've ever seen the American Pie direct-to-video sequel, The Book of Love, he was in that movie. And Cortland Mead is someone that you may be very familiar with, who is the voice of why can't I remember his name now? He was the voice of Gus on Recess. He was also Nightmare Ned. He was also Lloyd from Lloyd in Space. But then you get to the other cameos in here. You've got Raymond Simone in here. You have Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen with a cameo. Mel Brooks is in this movie. Leah Thompson, Daryl Hannah, Reba McEntire, Whoopi Goldberg, George Wendt. Donald Trump has a cameo in here playing Waldo's father, which is very awkward, but also kind of amusing when you look back on it now. And the movie isn't perfect by any means, but this is one that I used to watch a lot as a kid, and even as an adult nowadays, I can still look at it and go, like, you know what? They did a pretty good job with what they had to do with this, and I think it has a lot to do with the people behind the scenes. You've got Penelope Spears, who also did Wayne's World and the Beverly Hillbillies, but you also have Paul Guay and Stephen Mazur, the scriptwriters, who actually wrote some really good comedies in the late 90s and the early 2000s, Liar Liar and Heartbreakers, for example. The movie overall is very good. I think it does pay the proper respects to the original shorts. The kid actors play their parts very well. The comedy is okay. I like how silly it gets, and it's unapologetically silly. I think it is a fun adaptation that works a lot better than most adaptations do. I don't think it got the proper respect it did back then, but I really enjoyed this movie. It's one that took me back as a kid. I still love it today. So, that's The Little Rascals. Let's move on to the next movie, and I'm trying to remember what it is without clicking to the... I gotta do it anyway. There we go. Brendan Fraser, Steve Buscemi, and Adam Sandler starring in Airheads. Another great underrated comedy that has a lot of people in here. I mean, so a lot of notable names. You'll see them all. You see them in the trailer alone, but you have a lot of names that you can just tell right away. You see, of course, Brendan Fraser, Steve Buscemi, and Adam Sandler play the band in here, the Lone Rangers, but you see Chris Farley's in here, Ernie Hudson is in here, Michael McKean, Judd Nelson, Michael Richards, Joe Mantegna, Amy Loncrane, Nina Simasco, Reggie Cathy, David Arquette, Harold Ramis, Alan Covert, Rob Zombie, Kurt Loder, Mike Judge plays Beavis and Butthead in this. White Zombie's in here. Lemmy Kilmister. I mean, there's a lot of talent in this movie, and there's just a lot of funny moments in this movie. This is a very underrated comedy that I saw back in the day. I talked about it as part of a DVD double feature set with PCU. This is a very funny movie. This is a really funny movie that I go back to every once in a while. Like, it's a really funny movie, a very underrated comedy. It's very over the top, very silly. Like, there are so many lines in this movie you can quote this, and like I said, it's just a ton of fun all around. It's a movie that I keep going back to every once in a while, and I'm just like, this movie was not appreciated well at the time. It did not do well at the box office. It was largely seen as a mostly forgettable film, but it has grown to have a cult following over the years, and it's satirically funny. It's a very funny comedy that really I think was ahead of its time, honestly, but as the years have gone on, it's a film that I always go back to, and I'm just like, you know what? This movie was a lot funnier than I think anybody gave it credit for. If you haven't seen Airheads, definitely check it out. It's a very funny film. You will not be disappointed by it at all. So, that's Airheads. Now, with that said, let's move on to the last movie that we have here, and that is Ang Lee's Eat, Drink, Man, Woman. Of course, Ang Lee is the man that gave us stuff like Sense and Sensibility, Life of Pi, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Just so many good movies since this movie came out. And this is part of his Father Knows Best trilogy. This is a trilogy that is considered the final part of it. The first two films being Pushing Hands in '91 and The Wedding Banquet in '93, which we talked about a little bit because I haven't seen that movie, nor have I seen this movie, honestly. I've seen a lot of Ang Lee's movies, but the first three films he ever did, I have never seen before. I doubt that this is a bad movie by any means. It looks like it could be a fun little movie, and just one of those examples where movie food just looks so much better than regular food. I mean, I was getting hungry watching that trailer, honestly, the first time I saw it, but it looks like a fun movie. It kind of has a reminiscence to something like the Joy Luck Club, which was a big hit the year before, so I mean, it could be a pretty good movie. I might check it out one day. I can't really say too much about it because I haven't seen it, but it's got my interest a lot. Either that or just really hungry because that, like I said, that food looks so good. But so that's pretty much all I could say about this one. Eat, drink, man, woman. And so on that note, we wrap up another edition of Time About the Movies. Next time we meet, we only have 2 movies to look at, including Pauly Shore and the comedy In the Army Now, and also the cult hit The Adventures of Priscilla, Queen of the Desert. So those 2 movies we'll look at next time, but until then, thank you very much for watching, and if you want to see more videos like this, please hit the playlist on the next page, check out the previous episode, and I will see you guys tomorrow for another episode. So thank you for watching, I'll see you next time, and until then, as always, take care.